So the Brigitte meta has been going around for, half a week so far, and overall we've kind of gotten used to how it's playing out, mainly with a lot of triple support, sometimes 2-2-2, and just really awkward comps overall, but always almost having Brigitte on your team. But with that in mind, what can you do to beat this comp? And mainly, I guess the question here, what are some of the best heroes that you can carry as or against this comp with? Because you will be seeing it, pretty much just every single game, at least until she gets a nerf next week. With all that said though, guys, let's get started. So we're going to start here with some characters that I think a lot of people are starting to really realize are meta themselves, but I don't think I'd really put them in the, triple support meta type of slot, and that is Widowmaker and Hanzo. And I think these characters are so strong right now because the front line, it's kind of hard to fight there, honestly. It's kind of hard to play a lot of DPS that focus there, and as well, it's kind of hard to pull out any flankers because Brigitte with the armor and her shield bash and booping people away and everything makes that difficult to get any value there as well. But when you look at someone like Hanzo or Widow that can just randomly one-pop people halfway across the map where the Brigitte brawl comp can't really do anything, it starts to become a character that there's a lot of potential with, and we've been seeing this a lot with these characters. The thing about playing, triple support is that it is kind of slower. You do have to get up next to the opponent, you do have to play on the point, and oftentimes there is some time where if you're playing Widowmaker, you can go uncontested, and I've had many games where the enemies pick up Widowmaker, and we just don't really have an answer other than hoping that we can get on the point extremely fast and kill everybody there before the Widowmaker can kill us. Because in general, unless you switch to a diva, which can kind of work, there's not much to beat the Widowmaker in that type of comp, and we've been seeing that a lot. Now, one of the only things to beat a Widowmaker, I guess, is another Widowmaker, but, you don't always see that as well. Overall, though, I think she is very strong at countering this comp, and I should mention right here Hanzo, who's technically, statistically been doing even better than Widowmaker. He can do a very similar thing, that being, of course, getting picks in far range, being almost impossible to hit or damage. But Hanzo has some other benefits, which is that he can ult into the Zarya ult while getting these picks. He can also do an insane amount of consistent damage with his E. He can just snipe people. He can kill those people that the rest of the comp can't get. And overall, these characters together are really good at A, countering the Brigitte triple support meta, while at the same time, I guess kind of helping your team against any threat that happens to show up. Because there are some threats that I'm going to be talking about later that this, picking up one of these characters will be really useful for. Now, I'm going to say, especially right here, if the opponents pick something like a hit scan character, Widowmaker and Hanzo are very good versus that. And I think this is especially where they've just been doing great as far as carrying, because a lot of people still like their hit scan. A lot of people still like to play them, even if they aren't the best right now. But as Hanzo, there's not much they can do against you. I mean, you can peek corners again and again. You have so many chances to get one-shot headshots against them. And your effective range are effectively the exact same right now with the increased movement speed of his projectile. Overall, again, these characters are extremely good to play, and honestly, I'm going to say they aren't that hard to pull off right now. Especially Hanzo, I've been able to pick him up and do pretty well with no practice at all, so I guess that's a good thing as well. So, as to Mei, she honestly isn't played very much, and especially you compare her to people like Widowmaker and Hanzo, which are showing up all the time, I think Mei's especially one of those, kind of secret picks that you can pull out. But as far as win rates go, she has a half okay play rate, but an extremely great win rate, and she's been working great right now. And I think the reason for this is because A, she can freeze multiple targets now, and this is especially useful against the Brigitte meta, because Brigitte and her whole team walk in, they go for a big brawl, and you can freeze all of them, wasting a lot of their time, or getting some kills against them, stopping their shields from being effective, and that alone, I think, is one of the big reasons why she's working out so well. As well, she does have some pretty far range damage, which is kind of nice. Not the furthest range, but alright. She can stay alive against almost any push because that shift. Brigitte can't really kill her at all, which is kind of nice. But I think one of the main great things about playing Mei right now is, of course, the wall. Because catching people out, I think, is extremely important. Because it's kind of hard to catch people out right now. I mean, a lot of people are tanky. A lot of people have, Lucio going on their team, moving them about. There's a lot of tanks running around that can supply shields with, Reinhardt, Orisa, Zarya. So being able to split those people up with your ice wall and then having your team, which has just, maybe some more damage because you aren't focusing on a triple support comp, having that go in, well, you can kind of kill half their team and then just waste a lot of their time. And a lot of the times when people are playing triple support, some of the supports are playing really far back, some are playing really far up, and a lot of times you can just catch Brigitte by herself, especially if she's going for a lot of shield bashes. I mean, you can easily wait for her to shield bash your front line, and then immediately put up a wall, get her stuck by herself, and finish her off like that. And, you know, kind of do that to the rest of her team as well. And overall, it has proven to be extremely strong. Now, one thing I should say right here as well is that she, as similarly to Hanzo and Widowmaker, I guess, also works really well with triple support. While I think one problem that can come with this is that you don't have the most damage. That is kind of annoying. If you are playing versus another triple support, you're just going to be able to supply more CC than them, and most likely be able to get more kills with that than the enemy, and overall it can work half okay. What I'm going to say right here though, which is probably a better idea to do, is to play someone like Mei with Junkrat, and, you know, maybe hit scan if you really need to kill, you know, any certain characters like Pharah. But having that can supply a lot of damage, a lot of crowd control, can stop the opponents, and being able to supply a little bit of burst on your team, I think, is important with Mei, because sometimes if there's just so much healing going on, Mei just can't kill anything. While if you add a little bit of burst to that, it'll help quite a bit. Mei / Hanzo, I think that can be a pretty good strategy, honestly. And yeah, I think she's a great character. Now, the character that I honestly probably dislike the most in the entire game, and I've always disliked the most, that's doing so well right now, is Pharah. And I think a lot of people are sleeping on Pharah, but in the next 2 or 3 days, she's going to just blow up and everyone's going to start playing her. She's just so hard to counter right now. And Hitscan are feeling extremely weak. Everybody's playing triple support. Everybody's trying to push up like that. And if you pick Pharah and people are playing triple support and they don't have a Hitscan main, you win the game. And that's all I'm going to say there. You just immediately win the game. And I hate how it's that way. And the problem right now is that a lot of the Hitscan mains have kind of quit the game or put it on hiatus because, as I've been saying earlier, there's a lot of characters that counter them. Against triple support, Hitscan can't do way too much. There's a lot of problems. But then you have Pharah, which needs a Hitscan to play versus it, and a very good one at that, because if she's getting pocketed, you have to hit like every single shot, every single headshot. And overall, when you put that all together, yeah, Pharah just starts to be very scary. Now, I think the main problem about Pharah, in my opinion, is that, I mean, if you don't play her counters, she's almost invincible. And personally, I just don't like the way that the game has kind of designed her that way. In a lot of metas, she hasn't been that good. I'm not saying that she's always been overpowered or anything. But I think you can kind of see where that design flaw shows up in this meta, where, again, if people are playing one of the meta comps, I mean, you fly over them, you pound them, and you just take that elo for yourself. And if you're a person that's been playing a lot of projectile characters, or if you're just a DPS player that honestly just hates the meta right now, this is a big middle finger to the current meta, because it does so much damage. It is so hard to kill. And I think especially what you should be doing before you pick up this character, I guess, is looking at the enemy profile, see if they play any Widowmaker, or see if they play a lot of McCree. And if they do, maybe think twice about it. But again, if they don't, I mean, she is a strong pick that does a lot of damage, that has a lot of burst, which is important, and this is why it is so important, and this is why I say, you know, Pharah and Junkrat are both good. With armor, it subtracts a lot of damage from the majority of Hitscan characters, because it'll make so that it does almost half damage until you get through that armor, because it has multi-hits. That's just kind of how armor works. But then if you look at someone like Pharah, it'll only reduce, like, what is it, 5 to 10 damage or something of her rockets. Overall, not do way too much, and all the extra armor coming from Brigitte isn't going to be that important. You as Pharah can blast straight through that. You can play with your own Brigitte, giving yourself armor, which makes so that, you know, if you have armor plus Brigitte ult, Widow even getting a headshot can't kill you. Overall, that is extremely good, and I think you can kind of see how that works out. Now, I'm saying that Pharah is a lot better than Junkrat here, because Junkrat can be dived on. Junkrat can be speed boosted into, you know, when you see something like a Lucio. And as far as win rates go, Junkrat has actually dropped quite a bit since the spam meta, and even since the dive meta. But Pharah has skyrocketed. And yeah, again, if you want to pick a character that I'm going to say isn't way too hard to play, because everybody's picking up this character and just doing amazing at them when no one's been playing it really in the past seasons. If you want to pick a character that's pretty easier to play, I guess, similar to Junkrat, but maybe a little harder, she's probably a good pick. Now, one thing I'm going to say is, of course, stay in the sky, stay far back, make sure that they can't get any cheeky hits on you, and if they do switch to Widow and they're killing you a lot, of course, do swap. But if they don't, Pharah is a very good carry hero right now. It might change the next few patches, but as far as right now goes, you know, go grind some free low. But as always, this has just been my own opinion and my own experiences, and this is about, you know, in Diamond / Masters. I have been looking at overbuff for any of the stats, and all these characters are doing extremely well. But you know, it will be anecdotal, so please keep that in mind. And as well, of course, you're not going to win every single game you pick up one of these characters. Sometimes you're just going to get whomped, people will run right over you, your teammates are going to get picked. anything could happen, so, you know, there's always that. But I think these honestly are some of the best characters to pick up right now that can counter the triple support meta and can make you do just so much for your team so quickly. And I guess one final thing I should say about Pharah is that she works very good with the Zarya ultimate, and I kind of forgot about that. Mage ultimate as well does work wonders with Zarya's ultimate. So there you go. There's one final good thing about these, because we've been seeing a lot of Zarya and a lot of Ryan, which they both also work really well with. So there you guys go. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like. Comment down below what heroes you feel like are really good at countering the meta right now, or if you feel like there are some pretty easy heroes to pick up that can counter up these ones. Anyways, as always, guys, though, thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed. And as always, guys, have a wonderful day.